So today we are going to start with a chapter called electromagnetic induction. Okay, this chapter name is what to call electromagnetic induction, what to call EMI. So let us have a small look at the EMI chapter. The basic requirement, what all you should know for EMI to study. Okay, to solve the MCQs of EMI, what all you should know. So basically, first you should know what now Faraday's laws. What you should know? Faraday's laws you should know. Okay, what is Faraday's laws is now? The rate of change of flux linked with the coil is directly proportional to what now? Induced EMF, that is E equal to d phi by dt, where phi is what we call flux. Which flux? Magnetic flux. Okay, this phi is what we call magnetic flux, and it is given by what formula? B A cos theta, where theta is the angle between the direction of magnetic field and area vector. That you should know. And here we're going to use a negative sign. The negative sign is according to what now? Lenz law. Lenz law. What Lenz law says? The Lenz law says that induced EMF is opposes the change in flux. Okay, opposes the cause producing it or change in flux. That is very important. And this Lenz law is according to conservation of energy. Okay, it's according to what now? It's according to conservation of energy. So this is about Faraday's law. Using Faraday's law, we're going to derive so many equations. And one equation is induced EMF when a rod is moving in a uniform magnetic field. It is given by what formula? E equal to BLV, and this is what we call motional EMF. Motional EMF. EMF means what here now? Electromotive force. EMF means what? Electromotive force. And we further continue like this. There are so many topics out there. Like we continue, and then we go for so many things out there. And finally, we end up with what of AC generator. So now here, I'm going to discuss the question. Along with the question, any additional thing is I'm going to discuss here. Okay, here self-inductance will come, mutual inductance will come, energy stored in the inductor. Okay, what is self-inductance, mutual inductance? M and L. So M stands for mutual inductance and L stands for self-inductance. And energy stored in the inductor will come, and the concept of back EMF will come, and then AC generator will go. Here a solenoid and toroid. Those two will come due to magnetic field due to what now? Solenoid and toroid. All those things will take up a question. While solving the questions, we discuss related to those things. Okay. Now I'll come back to the questions now. Look at the question number 1. There are two identical coaxial. What is the meaning of coaxial? So they should be in the same axis. They should be what now? In the same axis. Coaxial circular loop carrying a current I, each circulating in the same direction. Okay. If the loop approach each other, you will observe that. Okay, let us have a coaxial, means coaxis now. And we're going to have a what we call now? Two identical circular loops now. So first loop, and there's a second loop. These are two coaxial now. This is center. Let's say O1 and its center. Let's say O2. So both are on the same axis, right? That's what we call coaxial. Okay. So now they're carrying a direction current of same direction now. Okay, they're going to carry direction of current is same. Okay. Now what we see here. So they're given what now? If loop approach each other, they're going to approach each other. Approach means they're going to come near to each other. As they come near to each other, what will happen? We need to see now. That's the main question is. So now, first loop is going to move in this direction, and second loop is going to move in this direction. So then we call what now? Approaching each other. If they move in what direction? Opposite direction. What do we call them? They move away from each other. Okay, they move what now? They move away from each other. As they're approaching, what will happen? See, the first loop carrying a current, it is going to produce magnetic field. In what direction? Yeah. So how we're going to find out? Using your right hand rule, such a way that your right hand need to keep in on the axis so that your curved fingers are indicating direction of current and thumb will be indicating now direction of magnetic field. It is just ampere right hand rule. Like what we're going to do in the ampere rule, we're going to hold the current carrying conductor in such a way that thumb should be indicating direction of electric current and remaining fingers will be indicating what now? Direction of magnetic field. Now you just reverse it. Now remaining fingers will indicate direction of current and thumb will be indicating what now? Direction of magnetic field. As of now, I have taken here. So this is the magnetic field is what direction now? In this direction. Due to both the coil. So as the approach is what will happen? As the approach each other, the magnetic flux linked to the both the coil is going to increase or decrease. So due to this, let's say B1, and due to this, let's say B2, and both are in same direction. So what will happen? The magnetic flux is go on increases. Yes or no? But here there is a Lenz law. What Lenz law says? Then what will do? The induced current is there here. Current is what we call induced current is there. So initially there was some current. Because of that current, there is a magnetic field. And since both the coils are approaching each other, what will happen? The magnetic flux keep on increasing. As the magnetic flux increasing, what which is changing will give us what no induced EMF. That induced EMF will be what direction? Or induced current will be what direction? It will be in an opposite direction to the cause producing it. Means it is going to create a magnetic field in what direction? Opposite direction to this. That is magnetic field created by what now? Induced current B. So what will happen? It try to decrease the magnetic field. So what will happen? Then magnetic field is decreases means current is also decreases. So answer is what now? Answer is second. The current in each is decreases. Because of what reason? Because of consequence of Lenz law. See, always remember one thing whenever you apply Lenz law. This is very useful actually. Lenz law in the case of electromagnetic induction chapter. Always the induced EMF is opposite to the producing. What it is producing? Like if the magnetic field is going to apply in x direction, so it is going to produce induced EMF. Then there is a magnetic field due to induced EMF will be what direction now? Negative x direction. Opposite. Try to decrease always. If it is decreasing, try to increase. If it is increasing, try to decrease. That's what this law will do. Okay, so that's what you need to remember. Okay, so I hope that question number 1 is clear to all of you. Can we move on to the next question? Yes. Look at now next question. The question number 2. Two coils A and B are lined such that EMF is induced in B when the current in A is changing. So this is the concept of what now? Mutual induction. A mutual inductance. Mutual inductance. So what is the formula for mutual inductance? The induced EMF is equal to minus M times of D phi by dt. Okay, induced EMF on first coil due to change in flux due to second coil. Okay, this is M12. So that's number. Okay, that formula we're going to use here now in this case. Okay, now they are given two coils. There are two coils. What are two coils now? A and B. So these are what now? These are two coils are lined such that EMF E is induced in B. So EMF is going to induce in which coil? B. Okay, so I can write now EMF induced in B coil. When the current in A coil is changing. When what now? When there is a current in A coil is changing. This is not D phi, this is DI it is. This is I it is. Okay, when there is a current in which coil? A coil is changing. So I can write now M D I A by dt with negative sign. If there is a negative sign, we can neglect the negative sign for as of convenience. Okay, changing is changing at the rate of I. Means that given this value DIA by dt is equal to, they have given a value as I, capital I. Okay, if I current is now made to flow in B. Initially, the current was flowing in what now? A. Now it is flowing in B. The flux linked with the coil A, they ask. What now? Flux linked with what now? First coil they ask. Now, as of I know, from this I can get to know now how much induced EMF, that is E, right? In a second coil. So induced EMF in a B is just E. And can I insert this value? It will become E equal to, from this equation, E equal to M into I. So this is what now? Because why? Because di by dt is given I. So now, second thing, I'm going to have now the induced EMF is there now. Okay, flux they're asking, right? The flux are linked with which coil now? Now the flux linked with coil A is equal to what formula? M into current in which coil? B coil. So current in B coil, how much they given? IB equal to small I they given. Correct, no? Small I they given. So I'm going to have from here M value. M equal to what now? E by I. Can I use here now? Then flux phi A equal to M is E by I into small I. So where is an option? E by I into small I. Okay, first option is the right answer. Okay, so means you need to understand the clarity you need to have. Simple thing, we're going to use a formula, this formula. Okay, what is this formula says now? Induced EMF is equal to minus M into di by dt. Similarly, for self-inductance, okay, for self-inductance, what formula will be? Self-inductance. In self-inductance, what will happen actually? The current in same coil give us EMF in the same coil. So I write there E equal to minus L into di by dt. Okay, but here since there are two coils, that's what we call mutual. The mutual interaction we say, no? What is the meaning of mutual interaction? Interaction between two. Okay, same thing here. They're given and we are solved. So I hope this question is clear. Can we move on to the next question, students? Okay, here one more formula we introduce now. That formula is what now? The flux change in one coil is directly proportional to current in another coil. So if you remove the proportionality, that flux is equal to either you get L into I, or you get what now? M into I, depending upon what type of coil we have taken, a mutual induction or self-inductance. If there are two coils, we need to replace by M, and if there are one coil, we need to replace by L. So L and M are what we call self-inductance and mutual inductance coefficients. So or you can say what now? L is coefficient of self-induction, M is coefficient of mutual induction, and unit for both the thing is Henry. Unit for both L and M is Henry, that you need to know. Okay, so it's clear. Okay, let's move on to the next question now. Question number 3. So look at the question number 3. The induced EMF is produced when a magnet is plunged, okay, plunged into a coil. Okay, so plunged means what now? Just quickly we bring it, quickly into a coil, means there is a coil, is a quickly we bring it to coil. The strength of induced EMF is independent of the asking. The asking what now? Strength of induced EMF is independent, not dependent. This is from where? This is from Faraday's law. This concept is from where now? Faraday's law. There are some experiments are there. Do you remember the experiment number 1? Coil, magnet. Okay, from all those experiments, one conclusion we got. There are two conclusions are there. First conclusion, what now? The EMF is exist as long as change in magnetic flux continues. Yes or no? EMF is exist in a circuit, that which EMF? Induced EMF, as long as change in flux continues. Means if change in flux is there, then there is a EMF. If flux is not changing, then there is no EMF. Okay, first. Second thing, the rate of change of magnetic flux linked to the coil is directly proportional to induced EMF. So we take minus N into d phi by dt. Okay, so these two conclusions we got from those two experiments, those 3 experiments, and those conclusion what we call Faraday's laws. So from this conclusion, we are going to continue now. Look at now here. So plunged means what now? The word meaning quickly. Quickly we bring. So as we bring very quick, what will happen? So strength of the magnet is higher. So it will be more magnetic flux. Then flux will be changing very fast. Then the EMF is very high. So number of turns, it is dependent. It depends on number of turns now. And these two, both the things are dependent now. Now, anywhere here, resistivity of the wire will come. No, we never see anywhere resistivity, right? So this is the right option for us because this is what independent. But speed of the magnet which move, it is dependent. So what is the right answer for us? Option 3 is the right answer. It does not depend on what now? It does not depend on resistivity of the coil. Nothing to do with the resistivity of the coil rise up now here. Okay. So it is clear to now? Clear to all of you now? This is question number 3. So let's go for question number 4. Next question. Whenever the magnetic flux linked to the coil changes, the induced EMF produced in a circuit. Okay, this is what first conclusion I told you now. Just now I told you from Faraday's law. First conclusion. What did I say? The change in flux continues as means change in. Okay, the EMF is continuous as long as change in flux continues. So no, if once the change in flux become less, it stop. Then what will happen? There is no EMF at all. So what is the answer now? As long as change in flux takes place. That's the answer for this question. Okay, next question. Let's have a look at the next question. A magnet moved towards the coil quickly and slowly. Then EMF is okay. As you move quickly, flux is changing very fast. So as from Faraday's law, minus n times of d phi by dt. As you move very fast, what will happen? Rate of change of magnetic flux will be directly increases. So as EMF is directly proportional, EM also increases. So first case, what will happen? If you move quickly, what will happen? EMF increases larger. So larger in case 1, this is correct. As you move, okay, slowly, what will happen? It need to decrease, right? So as second case, d phi by dt, so flux changing very slowly, then EMF is changes very slowly. Now second option, look at smaller in case 1, no. Larger in case 1, no. Equal in both the case, no. Larger or smaller, depending upon the radius of the coil, doesn't matter radius. So which option is correct? First option is correct. So quickly, so EMF is increases. Slowly, EMF is decreases. That means we get less EMF as compared to previous case. That's it. Not nothing but very low, less as compared to previous case. Okay, that's the question number 5. Look at my question number 6. Lenz law. What is Lenz law first? To understand Lenz law. What Lenz law says? The induced EMF in any coil opposes the change in flux, right? Induced EMF in any coil opposes the change in flux. Opposes the change in flux. That's what Lenz law. And this Lenz law is according to what now? According to conservation of energy. Means whatever the work done we are going to do to move a coil, means like a magnet towards the coil, that work done will be stored in the form of what now? Electrical energy. That electrical energy is going to appear in the form of induced EMF and current. Okay, that's what. So now that we are giving that it is a consequence of what law of conservation of it is energy. Okay, so it is consequence of energy. That if I take a very small example, there is a coil is here. Okay, we have a magnet here, and we're going to move a magnet towards like this. Let's say it is north and south. Okay, so as we move, what will happen? So magnetic field will be like this direction, right? Correct it is. This is the magnetic field lines. So as we move, what will happen? Here current is going to produce in this. In what direction? In this direction. Okay, so it will act like what now? It will act like North Pole now. So it will act like North Pole going to repel each other, right? So now we are doing against to this repulsion, that what we are doing a work that will be appear in the form of energy. Yeah, that's the reason we say energy, it is conservation of energy. Okay, yes, it is. Next, laws of electromagnetic induction have been used to construct what now? See here, construction of what now? Okay, first look at the galvanometer. How galvanometer going to construct now? This is a current carrying coil, a rectangular coil kept in uniform magnetic field is going to experience a torque, right? Okay, that is a principle, right? Principle of galvanometer, right? That we are going to have a rectangular coil we kept in uniform magnetic field, which is carrying current. That is going to experience what now? Torque. That is the principle of galvanometer. Sir, voltmeter, how does it going to work? Okay, voltmeter is basically we are going to convert a galvanometer to voltmeter by connecting what now? By connecting a very high resistance in series with what now? Galvanometer. So it is not going to apply in this case now. So no electric motor and generator. So these two options are left now. Okay. So how the electric motor is going to work? So in this electric motor, we are converting electrical energy into mechanical energy, right? Electrical energy to mechanical energy. So basically electromagnetic induction is what now? Opposite to this, right? So there is a correct option is what now? Generator. In generator, example AC generator, what we are going to do? We are going to rotate the coil mechanically, right? Yes or no? So as we rotate, what will happen? The flux linked to the coil is going to change. As the flux changes, will give us EMF. Yes or no? That EMF is what we call induced EMF. This is based on what? Electromagnetic induction or Faraday's laws. So D option is right answer. Okay, D option is the right answer for this question now. Look at question number 8. A cylindrical bar magnet is kept along the axis of circular coil. Okay, on rotating the magnet about its axis, the coil will have induced EMF. Okay, will have induced in it. Where current is going to induce or EMF is going to induce or both. So let us have a small idea. Look at the diagram now. A cylindrical bar magnet is kept along the axis of circular coil. Okay, now there is a circular coil. And let's say this is the axis of circular coil now. This is center. Okay, on the axis, what we're going to keep now? We're going to keep a magnet. We're going to keep what now? We're going to keep a magnet. Which type of magnet? Again, cylindrical magnet we're going to keep. Okay, cylindrical bar magnet, a cylindrical bar magnet. Let's take something like this. We're going to keep no along the axis. As along the axis we're going to keep and we're going to rotate it. Okay, so tell me now, as you're rotating in this direction, like this now it is. So what will happen? Flux is changing with respect to coil, no? This is a coil. As with respect to coil, the flux is changing. The flux is not changing. So since the flux is not changing, what will happen? There is no induced EMF. As laws we know, until flux changes, there is no EMF or current. So when there is a EMF, when there is a change in flux. So here we are rotating this in the along the axis. So as you're rotating along the axis, now flux is not changing at all. The flux when linked to the coil remains what now? Remains constant. As it is remains constant, so there is no EMF, there is no current, so no current, and there is no option here, no EMF. If it is there, you should click. Okay. So now there is no current at all. So B is the right answer. Okay. Let's say next question now. Question number 10. A moving conductor is produces an induced EMF. This is according to what now? Okay. A moving conductor is going to produce what now? Induced EMF. So this is according to what now? Many of you will just click what now? Lenz law here. No, not actually Lenz law. Lenz law is not a correct answer here. Lenz law, you should remember always, it is basically giving an idea about direction of induced EMF. Okay, it never give how it is going to produce, but it will give us a direction of induced EMF. How it is going to produce, that is given by Faraday law. So right answer is what now? Faraday law, not Lenz law. Here Lenz law will give us what now? Basically direction of induced EMF. We should know direction of induced EMF. Why I'm telling for each question all the things there, because in there is some questions you can get asked also for EMF, right? In direction of induced EMF, there you can click. Means from one question you need to cover 4 questions or 3 questions like that. Okay, Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law basically what now? F is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square, and it should be taken a magnitude. That is force of attraction or repulsion between two charges. That's what given by Coulomb's law. What Ampere circuit law, Ampere law or Ampere circuit, Ampere law they are given. Not Ampere circuit law, just Ampere law. Ampere law, or you can say Ampere circuit law, it is basically talking about integration over B dot dl, that is equal to mu naught times of phi. Means the magnetic flux linked with the closed loop is equal to mu naught times of total current enclosed by the surface, or Amperian loop. That's what Ampere circuit law deal with. Okay, Faraday's law deal with what now? Induced EMF minus n into d phi by dt. This negative sign is given by this fellow Lenz. That's what we can saying now here. What now? Direction. Okay, so this is question number 9. Look at now question number 10. A coil of insulated wire is connected to a battery. So we have taken a coil of insulated wire and we are connected to what? The battery. If it is taken to galvanometer, the pointer is deflected because. Now tell me. So whenever there is a pointer deflection is there, what's the main reason we need to know? Deflection will occur when? In the galvanometer. So this experiment we have done, Faraday's experiment, the galvanometer first show in direction one side and other direction other side. Because of what now? Because of there is a current. How did we get the current? Because we are going to move what now? Magnets. Okay, so here this deflection main reason is what now? Because of induced current in a is produced in a coil. So because of presence of current, the galvanometer will show deflection. Okay, left side and right side depending upon the movement of what now? The magnet. Okay, that's clear. Yes. Next question. Look at now. Here, I think this is probably the last question of today's class. So very simple thing. To understand this very clearly, you need to know these things. A conducting rod AB is moved parallel to x-axis, that is shown in the diagram. In uniform magnetic field, which is what now? Towards you people now. Okay. So pointing in a positive x direction. Okay. So now which is moving in a uniform, okay, x-axis, which is moving in a uniform magnetic field, pointing what now? Positive direction. So velocity also positive x direction. The end A of the rod gets what type of charge? Whether the end A is going to get here, no, this end A is going to get positive charge or going to get negative charge or neutral, that we need to find out now. So here, you need to remember this formula. Which formula? F equal to Q times of V cross B. This is a very important formula. Here, they're not asking the formula, they're asking the concept related to the formula. Here V cross B means what now? Vectors which are velocity vector and magnetic field vector. Okay, in what direction they are? Look at now. It is along Z axis, right, towards you. B is along towards you. That is B. I'm going to indicate towards you like this. That is dot indicating towards you, cross indicating away from you. This velocity along what direction? In the direction. It is along x axis. So I can take now B is along k cap and B vector is along what now? K cap and velocity vector what now? Velocity into I cap. Okay, these are the direction of vectors now. So now they're asking what is the direction of what now? F then. So if I use then here F equal to Q times of V I cap, okay, cross B K cap. I can use directly using right hand rule now. Very simple it is. Okay, so what you do, first you keep your right hand in such a way that hand should be like this. Now we are going to keep. Okay, if I write a small diagram of my hand, okay, you need to have like this direction. So this should be indicating what now? This should be indicating velocity and this should be indicating what now? Magnetic field. And you need to bring this one velocity. Okay, no, not this is the magnetic field. This is what it is indicating. Finally, the force is going to indicate. This you need to bend, this fingers need to bend in such a way that it need to move towards the magnetic field. So as it move towards the magnetic field, it will bend, right? It will become like this now. Okay, as you bend towards the magnetic field, okay, thumb should be still upward, right? So then that is the direction of force acting on a particle. So now here, okay, if I take this mathematically, it will be QVB. I cross K become what now? Minus J. I cross K become what now? It is minus J we're going to get. So as it is minus J, see here, all the electrons are moving along what direction now in this direction? So they're going to experience a force now. In what now? Along what direction? Along. Minus J cap means what now? They are going to move towards down. Okay. As they're going to move what now? Towards the down.